Fire Fist Ace, the son of Gold D. Roger, had the potential to become one of the strongest pirates in the One Piece world. Unfortunately, Ace's life was cut short during the Marineford War. But what if Ace survived? How strong would Ace have become? We'll start out by getting a basic understanding of Ace's abilities and potential that was shown while he was alive. And towards the end, we'll explore what a Prime Ace could have looked like with a Devil Fruit Awakening and Haki Mastery. But first, make sure to leave a like, it really helps us out. Starting out, Ace's feats and abilities are all over the place, making him a tricky character to scale. On one side, one of the first times we ever saw Ace, he says that he and Smoker are evenly matched. But this doesn't really make any sense or match up what we'd later find out about Ace. I mean, Ace was able to clash with an admiral at Marineford after being chained down in sea prison for days. Does that really sound like someone who's on par with someone like Smoker? So if we're going to be extra charitable to Ace here, I'll assume that he was suggesting that Ace and Smoker's Logia powers could potentially cancel each other out without any use of Haki. Oda didn't introduce Haki at this time yet, so it's hard to know how much of that power system he had planned out. And that's probably what led to this strange interaction that doesn't really make sense looking back on it. It's been confirmed by Oda that Ace is a Haki user, and even a Conquer Haki user, so that one random line facing Smoker has not aged well. Now on the other side, Ace has gone toe to toe with Conquer Haki masters and incredible fighters like Yamato and Wano, and even some of the most powerful villains in One Piece like Blackbeard. Now to be fair, Ace did lose to Blackbeard, so we do have to give credit to Blackbeard there and say that Ace was not as strong as him at that point. But when you think about how strong someone like Yamato really is, and to see that she gained so much respect and adoration for Ace, I think it's safe to say that Ace was a powerful Conquer Haki user himself. You could argue that Yamato wasn't as strong as she was when she fought Ace as she was during Wano, but then again we can assume that so did Ace. And even though Yamato could have gotten stronger, I don't think she got drastically so much stronger. But maybe the most impressive part about this battle with Yamato is that when we take a step back and look at what Ace did, he traveled into the depths of the New World all the way into the Yonko territory of Wano. Without the Whitebeard pirates, he was fearless, and a reckless, fearless nature is always rewarded heavily in One Piece. Oda loves to make these type of characters become legendary pirates one day, and only an elite pirate could pull something like this off, facing off against Kaido's daughter, Yamato. And so if Yamato and Blackbeard wasn't enough, we also know that Ace was hunting down warlords, and he's even fighting characters like Jinbei and even taking down one of the warlords. This is very similar to someone like Luffy, who we've seen done the exact same thing. And so with all of this information in mind, I do think that Ace was a bit stronger than someone like Queen when he passed. Don't get me wrong, Ace was incredibly strong, but he was still very young and had a bunch of untapped potential that stopped him from being as strong as someone like Blackbeard, who was much older and a much more cunning fighter. And Ace also lacks experience being constantly protected by Whitebeard. But what if he survives Marineford and Whitebeard's legendary name isn't there to protect him anymore? What exactly would have happened if Ace survived the Marineford War? Alright, now quickly, make sure to leave a like if you haven't already, and if we can reach our goal of 5,000 likes on this video, I'll let you guys pick the next video that we make in a community poll. The passing of Whitebeard would have fueled an even bigger fire under Ace. Ace would have focused and became angry for a while, a lot more serious as he trains his skills up to become one day strong enough to protect his own crew and the people that he loves. He just witnessed hundreds of pirates fighting for his life. Witnessing all of this and having the expectations to live up to the potential that Whitebeard sets out for him, that definitely would have sparked a flame under his spirit. And I also think one thing that would have made Ace so much stronger is that he would have joined Marco in the grudge war between the Whitebeard pirates and the Blackbeard pirates. And this war, just like the Marineford war, would have changed Ace even more. It's clear that the Whitebeard pirates would still lose this war. Even with Ace added as an ally, I just can't see them winning this battle against Blackbeard, especially now that Blackbeard has two very overpowered devil fruits and a very powerful and dangerous crew. And so with Marco helping Ace to survive this war, I think the next step for Ace would be a training arc during the time skip where Marco is helping him to raise his abilities in Haki and mastering his devil fruit as well. Similar to how Luffy had a training arc with Rayleigh, but this one will be a little bit shorter since they just had another war. And during the time skip, Ace would also grow as a leader as well, getting used to his title as the captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Ace was also Luffy and Sabo's brother, and when they were kids, he was portrayed to be as strong as Sabo. Interesting thing here is that Sabo got even stronger when he ate Ace's fruit, so I think it's fair to say that if Ace was alive during the Wano arc, he would have been even stronger than Sabo because he had a lot more time to master his devil fruit abilities. I also think that Ace would have been involved in the Wano arc if he was alive, since he had a goal to one day defeat Kaido and free Wano just like Luffy. And so Ace being on the rooftop with Luffy and the Supernovas, or maybe fighting alongside Yamato when she fought Kaido, would have been a perfect addition to the Wano arc. I think this would also have skyrocketed Ace's strength into a tier alongside someone like Yamato, a powerful Conquer Haki user with a powerful devil fruit. And like we mentioned earlier, with how much Yamato respected Ace, I wouldn't even be surprised if he surpassed her in this arc. And so now to really grasp the idea of how strong Ace could have become, we have to talk about his devil fruit. So let's explore just how powerful Ace would have become mastering the Mera Nomi. So far in One Piece, we've seen many awakened devil fruits, but surprisingly, we haven't seen an awakened Logia yet. So could have Ace been the first Logia to awaken in One Piece if he was still alive? If you want to look as slick as Sanji, check out our OPU podcast merch in the description. We've got some really simple yet sleek designs paired with some great quality materials, and you can support our podcast by purchasing a hoodie or a t-shirt or simply by joining us live every week to talk about One Piece. What's really exciting about Ace's fruit is that I've seen people say that Ace's fruit, if he survived, would have surpassed even Akainu's devil fruit. And while I don't agree with this, I think their argument is worth mentioning, because if Ace did awaken his fruit, it could be at least on par with Akainu's fruit. You see, back then in Marineford, Akainu told Ace that he may be fired, but magma is even hotter. But with the help of awakening, many fans speculate that Ace could surpass one day the heat of even magma at the highest temperatures. And this comes from the idea that fire has the potential to reach much higher heats than even magma. Essentially, imagine an awakened Ace walking around like a human torch, who's also as hot as the sun. And so this is a really fun idea to think about, because there's no doubt in my mind that Ace would have taken his fruits to crazy lengths after the time skip. And this comment set up by Akainu seems like it's just waiting to be proven wrong by Ace, if he survived. And who knows, maybe Sabo will be the one to prove Akainu wrong one day. When we first see Ace, he wants Whitebeard to become Pirate King, and so with now Whitebeard gone, it's very possible that Ace would want to become Pirate King to honor the Whitebeard name and to live out Whitebeard's wishes. Even though Ace wanted Whitebeard to become king, Whitebeard was never interested in that goal or finding the One Piece, and instead he believed that Ace would accomplish what Roger once did. In the past, we've seen Ace create huge fireballs resembling the sun, and I always thought that that move was just so cool. So obviously he'd be able to now create a much bigger supernova-like fireball. And Ace's iconic fire pistol making him this western gunslinger was also another really cool move. And really, Ace displayed one of the best uses of his own devil fruit, at least from a fun and cool perspective. But an awakened version of these powers could be flames so hot that they instantly melt or burn through people and physical items, essentially giving Ace a laser gun. It's unfortunate that this was against Blackbeard, because otherwise Ace would appear to be a complete master of his fruits. And so if Ace did awaken the Mera Nomi, he could also receive a new color of flames, like maybe blue like Sanji, or maybe another color completely different, maybe black or a dark red. And of course, going along with the theory that awakened users of Logia fruits can permanently alter an island, like the fight between Kuzan and Akainu, and you now have a very destructive eternal flame. I always wanted to see a situation where Ace turned his entire body into fire, kind of like the Human Torch from Fantastic Four. And maybe under an awakening he could do this. And maybe he could even fly similar to the Human Torch. And these type of abilities will make Ace even faster. Because while Ace's fruit may not be as powerful as Akainu's, I think one thing that shouldn't be forgotten is the speed of Ace's fruit. The way he uses fire elements seems to suggest that he has great control of high speeds, reaching his fullest potential not only through pure raw power. And so this high octane speed would also continue as he gets stronger and stronger. But while an awakened Logia would instantly make Ace one of the top tiers in One Piece, having years to master his fruit, unlike Sabo, I think where Ace's potential would really have shined is with his Haki. Ace possesses the potential to be one of the greatest Conquer Haki users as Roger's son. I mean, look at the comparisons between Luffy and Garp. Ace's parents are both two of the most impressive characters in One Piece when it comes to straight willpower. Even Ace's mother Rose had maybe the single greatest feat in One Piece, keeping Ace hidden in her stomach for 20 months. And you can definitely see a similar look of willpower in Ace's eyes. eyes. He has conviction and he has strength. He has an ambition that's very similar to what we've seen with Roger. And maybe the biggest similarity that's pointed out between Roger and Ace is that they both have a passion to protect their friends and family, to always help their friends and family escape from danger, and to take care of those people that he loves that are around him. And not only this, but Ace, when he was a kid, always wanted to make the world acknowledge him as a legendary pirate. And these traits are Pirate King traits, very similar to how Roger's been shown. And the cool thing about Ace is that he found his own path, even separate from Roger. Even though they're similar, there's definitely differences. And even knowing that Roger was his father, Ace's unique willpower helps him forge his own legacy, which is very important in becoming one of these strongest characters. And so I think as Ace reaches higher and higher peaks, this willpower would trickle down as he's now on a path focused to finally defeat Blackbeard after already losing to him twice. And so we know that Ace is very emotional, and so I'd like to think that he'd gain control over this as he grew up. He'd still be very explosive and emotional at times, but being a little more level-headed and more calm, this could really help Ace out a lot. And being able to go out into a full-out outburst, a full meltdown when necessary, could also benefit him as well, but having the control and the option of when to use these emotions, that could be Ace's biggest strength moving forward. Another thing that we know about Ace is that he is not afraid of anyone. He has a huge heart for his family, and just like that made Whitebeard so powerful. Same thing with Roger, and same thing with Luffy. Having the responsibilities of now being a pirate captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, that would make Ace's Fire Fist pack an even bigger punch. I think Ace would be a great candidate for a Yonko to replace Big Mom or Kaido. And if it wasn't for the existence of Crossguild, I'd just straight up give it to him. But besides Buggy, there's not really anyone I could think that can compete for this title. But let me know in the comments, if Ace was alive, who do you think would get the Yonko title? Ace or Buggy? And so Ace at this point is a borderline Yonko level character, someone just as strong as Sabo at the very least, because Sabo hasn't had time to master his Devil Fruit unlike Ace. But potentially Ace could be as strong as someone like even Luffy. That's what I think, but I decided to ask you guys, how strong do you think Ace would have been if he was still alive? Ashu4922 says Usopp level, and Corey Mulan X3362 says around Chopper strong. You know, it's the internet, so I never know if y'all are trolling or hating, but yeah, the battle we all want to see is Fire Fist Ace versus Usopp's exploding fire stars, a true battle for who is One Piece's strongest firebender. I also saw a lot of people saying Admiral or low Yonko level, and I even saw comments saying that he'd be relative to Gear 5 Luffy. So yeah, I think we're all kind of on the same page here, and I think we kind of agree on some certain level that Ace, if he still was alive, would be in this top tier, somewhere from Admiral to Yonko level. And that would also make sense that he is reaching the levels of an Admiral, because if we look at the Marines, a lot of the Admirals have Logia fruits, and when you consider that someone like Kizaru hasn't shown Conqueror's Haki, he hasn't even shown a Devil Fruit Awakening, if we're giving Ace a Devil Fruit Awakening and Conqueror's Haki on top of that, yeah, he's definitely stronger than someone like Kizaru. I think Ace would also have a third fight with Blackbeard, which would also be a fight between both him and Luffy fighting Blackbeard together at some point. Or it's possible that Ace fights Akainu, who disrespected his father Whitebeard. Any of these fights would be tough for Ace, and if he was somehow able to pull out a W, then I'd applaud him, because not only is he at a massive disadvantage in both scenarios, but it would have to be through leveling up his Haki that he'd stand a real chance against Blackbeard or Akainu or any of these top tiers. And after the One Piece story finally comes to an end, I think Ace would have become someone as strong as a Kaido or Big Mom, a true Yonko in his prime, similar to how I think Zoro fighting and surpassing Mihawk would push him into a Yonko category. And if we think about Zoro and Ace, what they could be when they're both around 40 years old, which seems to be like a prime for many One Piece characters, I can see someone like Ace being at that point of a top 5 strongest character in the entire verse. I don't think he'll ever reach the same heights as Whitebeard or Roger. He's not exactly on this level, instead I think he'd fall just a sliver short. But it would be cool if Ace survived, because maybe we'd see a fight between Ace and Luffy. Remember, Ace, Luffy, and Sabo used to spar constantly as a form of training, and so this brotherly battle when they've both reached their peaks would be incredible fun to see. I mean, who wouldn't love a Gear 5 Luffy bouncing around toying with Ace, who Luffy can never defeat in the past? And this would be an especially great moment showcasing how far they both come, since Ace even believed that Luffy would be the one to surpass every pirate of the era. Ace told Yamato to watch out for his brother Luffy, and this means that Ace always knew that Luffy had the potential to surpass everyone. I know some will argue that Ace's Haki potential was as great as Luffy's, but I think considering that Luffy is, well, Luffy, and he has the most willpower and the craziest dream, I don't think anyone will really have a stronger willpower or Haki then Luffy by the end of One Piece. It's honestly sad to think about what Ace could have been or how strong he'd be in the current story. It's sad to think of the fun moments we'd see between him and Luffy and Wano taking on the Yonko together. Ace was always one of the coolest characters that Oda ever introduced, and I wish we could have seen a lot more from him before Akainu turned him into Katakuri's dinner meal. There's one thing that I know for sure: Ace would have become a damn legendary pirate and made Whitebeard proud. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and share it to a friend, and if you hate Akainu as much as I do, click here to find out what would have happened if Garp fought Akainu at Marineford.